Like we're going to do a small shtickle of Nesivas Shalom that I feel is very, very helpful. B'chlal, in the whole world, and especially when dealing with kips and people who are struggling, I think this is very helpful. Nesivas Shalom on Lag Baomer. Yesh lefarish hakavana b'gemara Shabbos lamed gimel lamed beis kasha yatzu Reb Shimon bar Yochai v'Reb Elazar b'nai mehamara chazu inish tekokarvi v'zari Ama manichin chay olam oisim chay isha kamakam shenoisim einei miyad nisraf. When Reb Shimon bar Yochai got out of the cave, he was there for 12 years, and he came out. He was very, very, very holy. He was really holy. He came out and he saw people. They weren't doing averos. They were wasting time. They could be learning, and instead they're plowing. They're busy with this world, taking care of normal things, and he couldn't tolerate it. So he got upset. He got frustrated. And wherever he looked, fire came out of his eyes, so to speak, and things started burning. We all know the Gemara. Now, if that happened to me, right, if I went to learn for 12 years in Punavish, in Brisk, and I was able to go ahead and watch people wasting time and burn stuff, right, I would be very excited about that. I think that would be very good. And on the CHIZUK resumes, it would be very, very popular. You know, like, he's a long-term learner, and he can burn stuff. Right? This is very good. Right? He has the ability to burn things out of kanois. When he sees people, if a guy goes to a bull game, that's it, the bull is done. The announcer is going to say, very interesting thing happened, this guy hit the bull, and in the middle, it burned, it turned into flames, and we would say, wow, that's a very big maila. What a great guy, so chashuv that he can burn stuff. So here, he's very, very obviously the biggest tzaddik in the world, Reb Shimon bar Yochai, comes out of the cave, and it looks like it's a good thing. It's as good as anyone can be. But he gets musar. The Baskol comes out and tells him something a little shocking. Lahachriv esaylami? You're here to destroy my world? Whoa. It's not exactly what we expected. Hashem's not happy with him. Hashem says that you're very frum, it's wonderful, but you're using your Yiddishkeit, and the result is that you're destroying the world. That's not what I want. So what did he do? He went back into the cave for 12 months. Zakta Nesivas Shalom. Advar mufloim elahavim. These are wondrous words, impossible to understand. Lama amru bitu kazeh mishpat rishoim al atzmam. Why did he go in for 12 months? Because he said to himself, wow, I thought I was good. It seemed like I was great. But now Hashem is saying that I'm not allowed to destroy the world. So I have to do tshuva. I did something wrong. How much wrong am I? So he made a cheshbon. The worst Russia in the world, the maximum sentence of a Russia in Gehenna is 12 months. And he passed it on himself 12 months. The Mara was Gehenna. This was not a spa. This was not a cave spa. This was a Mara where he sat underground and his body became full of, we can't even imagine the pain. It was Gehenna. Wilderness program, right, okay? Right, so he was there in Gehenna for 12 years, and he says, I am the worst person in the world. I am the biggest Russia. You know, the people that he condemned when he saw, they weren't even Rishayim. They were just wasting time, and he didn't like it. But now he says, I'm not just like them. I'm the biggest Russia in the world. Why? In fact, in Nesivas Shalom, Lama Amur Bitoy Kazeh, why did he express this type of expression, Mishpat Rishoim al Atzmam? Why does he think he became a Russia? Ba'apiyah Amur, according to what he said before, Yispar Shemetchila Sarfu Es Ha'olam B'Kedushasam. First, they burned the world from their Kedusha. Ella Shero B'Zeh Gufa P'gam. But now they realized that a person who burns the world with his Kedusha, in that itself is a P'gam. He was looking at their fault. And then he realized, but if my Yiddishkeit makes me look at you, look down at you, to the point that fire is coming out of my eyes, that's how much I can, parents do that when the kids start rebelling and going off the derech. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that. Right? You give musar and you this and that, and then you try those looks. A lot of parents, even with regular kids, they try that look. And they're dreaming, maybe one day I could be like Reb Shimon bar Yochai, maybe I could at least burn him a little bit. I could at least heat up the room, just a drop. You're trying it hard. Nothing? No fire? The kids today, they're oblivious. Like, why does Tati look so weird? What's up with Tati's face? Why are Tati's eyeballs like a foot in front of his eye sockets? Is that healthy? Tati, I think you should check that out a little bit. Apparently you have a problem with your contortions of your face. Something's really weird, Tati. You should figure that out. Okay? So, mitchila sarfu was ha'olam b'kedusha sam. Very geschmack. They would so mamash. You have to sit and learn. You're wasting your time. How do you do such a thing? How can you be not sneistic and you're not on the level and you guys don't not machshav Torah and say, hang on, we're the ones that are blemished. Right? I had a friend, a close friend of mine, that has major anger issues. He's a doll, but he's just major anger issues. And he once came to shul, and he was sitting across from me. And a guy leaned over him to take a siddur, and he got angry. He goes, stop leaning on top of me, I'll pass you the siddur. Oh, little awkward moment. Okay. And 2 minutes later, another guy sneezed or something, and he's like, sneeze, take a tissue. He's angry at the other guy, Every minute he's angry at somebody else at the table, and I'm going typically I'm like banging. He's like, stop drumming, So he saw pagam in everybody. But if he would take a mirror, he would see in himself, I have the biggest pagam. There's no more blemished person than the one who is condemning everybody else and pointing out the blemishes of everybody else. And doing so, right, in the name of Torah. Doesn't mean that everybody else is right. But the one who's the condemner, he's the one with the biggest blemish. So listen what he says. They were self-righteous, holy people. How could you tell a guy you're wrong? Well, you're wrong? What, they should talk during davening? What are you wrong about? No. That's our job. Listen to the holy words. According to their level of holiness, of their greatness, they were so great, they should have been able to be soivel, to tolerate those that are not so great. You want to learn in Kayal your whole life? Gewaldig. But you should be so holy that you should be able to tolerate those that are not. Matzah Shabbos, you go to Rabbi Reisman's Navi Shir, Gewaldig. But you have to be able to tolerate the ones who are Nebuchnat. You could feel bad for them. You could say, I hope that they're going to steig, they're not going to go to the movies or to the pizza shop, they're wasting time. Fine. You want to be better, you got to be better. But to tolerate the one who's not better. Say the words again. Mitchila sarfu es ha'olam b'kedushasam. El shiro b'zeh gufa p'gam, ki lefi gadlusam, ha'yitzrichim lispel gamas elu, ha'menichim chaya olam, v'oiskim b'chaya shah. Shaharigam heim b'chlal Yisrael kedoshim. When it says that Am Yisrael is kedoshim, it means them also. Not just when you graduate brisk, not just the long-time learners, right? It means Gam Heim L'Chlal Yisrael. When it says Am Yisrael Kedoshim, when it says Va'amech Kulam Tzadikim, it doesn't just mean us, it means them also. Yeah, them. U'leroi madregosam matzu sheheim tzrichim lebechinas mishpat rishon begehenim. According to their level, they realize they're the ones who need to be judged, that they are the Rishoyim that belong in Gehenim. Ulehizdachek oid yud beis chodesh b'mara, to get cleansed another 12 months in the Mara, k'dei lahagia ala madrega lehoy b'skol echad miYisrael. Their Yiddishkeit at that point was being used to look down at another Yid. Go back, Mishpat Rishon b'Gehenim. This is a trait of a Rasha. Go back into the cave and come out when you can play nicely. They needed a timeout. Come out when you can play nicely. Come out when you can have a madrega lehoy b'skol echad miYisrael. This is very hard. Because what pushes us to be good is pushing down other people, right? If we think that they're okay, why should I be better? I got to work on myself, but I got to work on myself higher till I'm not looking down at Yenim. L'mashal. They say that when the girls come back from seminary, the boys don't want to date them because they're too holy. They say, let them cool down a little bit. Some people say, right? So let them cool down a little bit to a more normal, and then we can go out on a date. Right? But I have a shiloh like this. If the problem that they became so holy, they were too holy, so to speak, and it came from the Mara, So if you're going back for Yud Beis Chodesh, I would have said Yud Beis Chodesh, they should go to Las Vegas. They should get less holy, cool off. If the problem was going to seminary, you don't go back for Shana Bet. You're going to the second year of seminary, you can't tolerate anybody. So why is going back into the Mara the solution if we wanted them to just chill, relax? Not so important. The Teretz is what he's saying over here. They didn't have to become less holy. They have to become more holy. The highest level of holiness is that you're so holy, but then you look down at other people, guess what? Go back and become holier. Be you, be able to be you, pushing yourself to the max, and tolerating Yenavas Kenisht, and tolerating the other person who's not on your Madrega. And come out when you can reach the Madrega Lehav is Kalefad Misra. Because as long as you're not loving every Yid the way that he is, that's a Pagam. And that's a Midah of a Rasha. And that's why Mishpat Rishon began. So we see over here a moyedic lesson for all of us in all regular, normal walks of life, but especially now that we have all of these kids in pain, who are all over the place, and Nebuch Mamish really lost. If you're using your Yiddishkeit to look down at them, that's not a midah. There's bezeh gufa pkam. You have to be you and be able to see these kids off the derech with the eyes that the Gedolim do. Nahamadiyah brought down a story of Rabbi Aaron Schechter, very holy person. And he was going on Shabbos and he saw Bachur and Nebuch smoking on Shabbos. So what did he do? Did he give him the eyes? No. You know what he did? He said, Bachrim, ich hab eich lieb. I love you. And if you ever need anything at all, you come to me. That's a gadol. And what does a cotton do? A friend of mine was in Lakewood, and he was dealing with a chashav, a askin over there. And while they were there talking about some kind of property or something, a couple of kips of off the derech kids went rollerblading by, and they looked, they didn't look exactly like they should, and they're not acting like they should. And this guy told my friend, we got to get rid of the garbage. We got to get the garbage out of town. And he's a chashav person, and he meant so in the name of God, in the name of Torah. I love Torah so much. I look at these people who are Machal Shabbos, right? And his conclusion is, we got to get the garbage out of town. He's talking about neshamas, talking about Yiddish and neshamas. That we know it's not even their fault. We know that most of them are traumatized. We know that most of them, today the Gedolim say, that they're not the ones that have a bigger Yetzer Hara than everybody else. But regardless of all of that, get the garbage out of town. The Gedolim don't say that. What do the Gedolim say? Rabbi Elyashiv told a mother who came and said, I have 8 kids, my 15-year-old girl is off the derech, I want to throw her out of the house. Can I throw her out of the house? And he said no. And she said, but what about my other kids? And he said, if you're worried about your other kids, then you send each kid out of the house to live by a neighbor or a family member until you stabilize this kid. Because this is what Hashem wants from you. Rav Gershon Edelstein just told it to a family last week. They said, what about the other kids? Beit Hashpah. He said, if you're really worried, you send out the healthy ones. The sick ones stay at home. You're a hospital. We never lose a kid. Who's saying send the kid out? The Gedolei Adar? No. Who's saying call pins, call the police on your kid? Who's saying consequences, we lock the door and you get out? The Gedolim? Absolutely not. And if you sit with the Gedolim and you go through the parasha, they will tell you, don't lose your kid. There's a story, famous story of the Satmar Rebbe's Chassidut Ganon. It's called the Yeshiva of 40 Bachrim. It was written up, it's printed, I have the source. That they came to him, they had a Yeshiva of 40 Bachrim, and there's a big problem. 38 of them are Gavaldik, and 2 of them are Machal Shabbos. And they want to throw them out. So the Rebbe said, the other 38 are learning. So the other 38 are great. They're fantastic. They're stark. The other 38 are stark. The other 38 are stark. He says, so throw them out. If you get rid of them now, what's going to happen with them? He wasn't willing to lose a shevet. He wasn't willing to lose a neshama. We don't lose neshamas. Period. So this mother started crying to Rabbi Gershon Edelstein, and she said to him, but I built a house full of Kedusha. And now I'm going to bring this boy in with his iPhone and with his movies and with his tumah and with all his other stuff. It's going to ruin my house. And Rabbi Gershon Edelstein said, and what about the Kedusha of saving your child? What about the mitzvah of bringing back an neshama to Hashem? That's not filling your house with Kedusha? And the father started crying. He said, but it's so hard. And he told him it's a mitzvah aseh in the Torah to save your child. A lot of mitzvahs are hard. Do it. He wouldn't let them get out of it. A lot of mitzvahs are hard. This is the mitzvah of our generation that is going around in the nicest families, and we think, let's delete this kid, and then we can focus on everything else. No, Hashem wants you to focus on this kid. That's our tikkun. It's very easy to have, we want to have nakas on the other kids. Baruch Hashem, it's not so easy. We do a lot of work for them. But there's no losing kids. And it's crazy what's going on out there. I got a call that a family called me up, and they said, Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky gave us your phone number. We have 8 kids, okay? And one of the older ones is 16 years old. And we called Reb Shmuel, we want a psak to throw him out of the house. So I said, okay, what's his crimes against humanity? Kares. Kares. He should be homeless. What's his crimes against humanity? He's in yeshiva, he's doing quite well. But he wears tight pants, he has bushy hair, and he listens to Gaisha music. So we called Reb Shmuel, and he started telling us, no, it's not enough. We said, we're not asking, we want a psak. We're not asking for advice. We're done with him. We don't want all the other kids are going to follow him. They're all going to have bushy hair, listen to Gaisha music, and all have tight pants. So we can't have this. And he refuses to conform to be yeshivish. Kares. So Shmuel didn't argue with them. He said, call Avi Fishoff. Okay? He's a gentleman. So I didn't know what to say because I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk. First of all, can you imagine if in 1970, 1980, if every single person who had bushy hair and who listened to Gaisha music would have been cut off from Klal Yisrael? You were my counselor. Okay, that was me. All right?
Me too.
You too. Probably most of us. And many of the Gedolim. Okay? It's a crime. You got a ticket, seatbelt. You don't kill the guy. He's like, Kares. Because all the kids are going to follow. I said, you know what? I don't think it's true because kids don't generally follow. If they're happy, some are going to be yeshivish, some are not so yeshivish. But I still think if they're all going to follow, I think you're better off having 8 Shomei Shabbos with tight pants, bushy hair, listening to Gaisha music at this stage, than 7 yeshivish and 1 guy. Because if you throw him out of the house like you want, it's a life sentence. There's not even a question. Al Pi Teva, he's a drug addict, he's a Machal Shabbos, Machal Yom Kippur, you lost him forever. And for what? And everybody who hears the story says it's insanity. But it wasn't just these people. These weren't crazy people. This is the mentality of some people who look at their Nisayan totally the opposite. We'll cut them off. We had 8, we have 7. Where did you get this from? The Or Chaim HaKadosh says opposite, you say it. He says, beautiful Or Chaim HaKadosh. Who ever heard of having 2 children, you leave over $100 million estate, and you give it all to one person? Did you ever hear of such a thing? You give 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. You like one kid more, whatever. But you give all of the $100 million estate to one kid and not to another, it's a crime. And yet in the Torah, Yitzchak had brachas. Very, very worthwhile, very valuable brachas. And he had all the brachas and he was going to give it to Esav. Yaakov dressed up like him, so he got the brachas. Frek the Or Chaim HaKadosh, why would Yitzchak give all the brachas to Esav? You want to give a lot to Esav, you like him better, Yaakov get nothing? Ad Kedei Kach, that when Esav came back after, and Yitzchak said, I have no more brachas, he screamed, you don't have one bracha for me? It's nothing. Who gives all the brachas to one kid? Zok the Or Chaim HaKadosh, that Yitzchak knew who Esav was. And he knew who Yaakov was. And he said, Yaakov is going to be fine. All Klal Yisrael, look, we all come from Yaakov. He was right. Yaakov did very well. Ishtam, Yeshiv Olam, he's a tzaddik. He'll be fine. I don't have to worry about him. But what's going to be with my son Esav? Who's going to make Esav into a Yaakov? How am I going to win back that Klal Yisrael today, if Esav would have become from, would be double in size? Would be double in size. It would be Yaakov and all the Shvatim and all of the generations, and Esav and all of the generations. It would be double in size. Who's going to get back Esav? You know what? If I show him I care about him and I love him so much, maybe then he's going to do tshuva. Okay, so it's a plan. I'm going to spoil him. I'm going to give him money. So how much money should I give him? What do you mean? This is the most important thing. Give him everything. Yitzchak decided to give Yaakov, Esav, everything. Why? Because I got to try my best. Before I die, I got to try my best to save this kid. The good kid will make it on his own. Such a different outlook. Maybe it would have worked. We'll never know. Because Yaakov stole the brachas. So we'll never know. So if you have $1 million, who are you going to give it to? You want to give it to the kids who made you feel good. You want to give it to the kids who made you proud. But they don't need it. They have life. They have sipuk. They have a derech. They're frum. They're erlich. They're raising families. But this off the derech dysfunctional person, who's going to save him? Who's going to save him? And the only way to save him, we see from Yitzchak, his plan. The only plan, Yitzchak was pretty smart. The only thing he came up with was, give him physical pleasure, money, brachas, everything, whatever I can. Here you go. Give him brachas. Because if you see how much your father loves you, maybe there's a chance. At the end of the day, Yishmael did tshuva. Yishmael did tshuva because Avram never gave up on him. So the question is, why did Avram throw him out? Everyone has that question. So there's many answers. The first answer is that the Chazon Ish said, Ein lemedim mikoydem matan Torah. Period. You can't learn from koydem matan Torah. After matan Torah, every Jew could be saved. Before matan Torah, Yishmael could not be saved. Okay. He wasn't even called Zera. He was a different category before matan Torah. After matan Torah, every Jew could be saved. There's no such thing. Ever. Ever. The other reason is, because if it was to teach us what to do, then Yitzchak would have done the same thing with Esav. Why didn't Yitzchak throw out Esav if he saw Avram throw out Yishmael? The answer is because it was not a limud l'dairis. Thirdly, when he threw out Yishmael, he threw out Yishmael's mommy also. So throw out your son and your wife. If you can throw out your son and your wife, okay, we can talk about it. Right? But he threw out Hagar. Also, the pressure to throw out was Sarah. She was not his mother. A Yiddish mama never says, throw out my... I get calls. A Yiddish mama says, I got to throw out my kid. I got to cut him out. I got to lock the door. Sarah wasn't Yishmael's mommy. A Yiddish mama should throw out a kid? Unheard of. And here's another reason that I came up with that I think is maybe emes. Avraham Avinu kept Kol HaTorah Kula. How did he keep Kol HaTorah Kula before it was given? So Chazal tell us, because his Avarim, he was just in sync with the will of Hashem. He was so in sync with the will of Hashem that without even being told what to do, he knew what to do. You ever have a kid like that? There are some kids, it's very unique, that they know you're ratzin, or a good worker. They know what you want. You don't even have to say it. They know what and how. They know how to get the job done. Avraham Avinu was so in sync with Kedusha and Tara, his midas, his being, that he grabbed a palm tree and a funny-looking lemon and he started shaking it without being told what to do because he knew what Hashem wanted. He just felt it in his bones. So, Shtelzach the Kasha, Avraham Avinu, that was so in sync with God, when it came to Yishmael, he says, don't throw him out. And Hashem says, yeah, throw him out. Why was he not in sync? If his whole being was saying what Hashem wants, why didn't he know to throw Yishmael out if that was the will of Hashem? So I think the pshat is that there was something different about that situation for all the reasons we mentioned before. And that was a exception. Because be'etzem, the Torah in Avraham Avinu, everything inside of him that understands the will of Hashem came to the conclusion, you do not throw out a kid. Hashem said, this is an exception. Because of all the other reasons, you have to do it. But if it would have been what you do with a kid, Avraham Avinu would have felt it on his own. L'maisa, it says that Avraham Avinu went afterwards to look for Yishmael, and at the end of the day, what do we want from our kids? We want them to live like Yidden. But if chas v'shalom they don't, at least if you do tshuva me'ahava before you die, for infinity, at least you're in Gan Eden. Yishmael did tshuva before he died. He's in Gan Eden like all other people. And that's because Avraham Avinu never gave up on him. So, we learned never to give up on our kids. We learned that the way to get back kids is to prove to them how much they mean to you by giving them love and attention and spoiling them under the right hadracha. And most of all, we learned not to let our Yiddishkeit cause us to look down on other people. Because in that itself is a pagam. Perhaps even greater than the pagam that you were condemning to begin.